What happens when an entitled rich woman refuses to tip a hardworking waitress? A shocking twist turns the tables, leaving everyone speechless, and proving that kindness has the power to change even the coldest hearts. The story begins in an upscale restaurant nestled in the heart of a bustling city, where polished floors gleam under soft chandeliers and conversations hum like the background of an elegant symphony. This is the kind of place where the elite come to see and be seen, enjoying gourmet dishes prepared with meticulous care. Among the patrons that evening is a woman who clearly fits the mold. She is impeccably dressed in a designer outfit, her jewelry sparkling under the ambient lighting. Everything about her demeanor exudes wealth and entitlement. As she strides in, she barely glances at the hostess and waves off the polite greeting with an air of indifference. Her presence commands attention, though not for the warmth of her personality. Assigned to her table is Maria, a young waitress juggling the challenges of single motherhood with her demanding job. Despite her struggles, Maria carries herself with quiet dignity, always meeting her customers with a kind smile. Tonight, however, she finds herself at the mercy of the rich woman's disdain. The meal begins with a series of curt commands. Make sure the water's cold. Don't take too long with the wine. Every request is delivered with a tone dripping with condescension. Maria does her best to maintain her composure, even when the woman complains loudly about the temperature of the soup or the mediocre service. Fellow diners cast uncomfortable glances, but the rich woman remains oblivious, her entitled behavior on full display. As the evening unfolds, it becomes clear that this woman has no intention of leaving a tip. Little does she know, Maria's response will leave her, and everyone else, utterly speechless. Maria, the waitress, is no stranger to hard work. As a single mother, every day is a battle to make ends meet. Her shifts at the upscale restaurant are long and demanding, but she takes pride in her job, knowing it's her lifeline to support her young daughter. Despite the challenges, Maria always greets her customers with genuine warmth, her kind smile hiding the exhaustion etched into her face. She values her work deeply, seeing it as more than just a job. It's her way of showing her daughter the importance of resilience and integrity. But tonight, Maria's patience is put to the test. The rich woman at her table, dressed in opulent attire, makes no effort to disguise her disdain. From the moment she sits down, she treats Maria as though she's invisible. Or worse, as though she's beneath her. Is this how you pour wine? The woman snaps when Maria fills her glass too slowly for her liking. Moments later, she frowns at her appetizer. This is cold. Do you people even know how to run a proper kitchen? Maria quietly apologizes and replaces the dish, though she knows it was prepared perfectly. Throughout the meal, the woman's complaints escalate, each one more unnecessary than the last. She nitpicks every detail, the service, the temperature of the food, even the lighting. It's clear to Maria and to the other diners that the woman is building a case to justify leaving no tip. Though the woman's words sting, Maria remains composed. Inside, she feels the weight of her financial struggles, knowing every dollar counts. Yet she refuses to let bitterness take root. Little does the rich woman know, Maria's response will soon reveal a strength and grace far greater than her own. As the rich woman savors the last bite of her dessert, she dabs at her lips with a linen napkin and motions impatiently for the bill. Maria, maintaining her composure despite the evening's relentless barrage of complaints, approaches the table with the check neatly presented on a silver tray. The woman glances at it briefly, pulling a sleek leather wallet from her designer bag. With deliberate movements, she extracts a crisp stack of bills, just enough to cover the meal. Maria waits politely, pen and receipt in hand, hoping for even the smallest gesture of appreciation for her service. Instead, the rich woman looks up with a smirk. I won't be leaving a tip, she says loudly, her tone cold and dismissive. Frankly, you don't deserve a penny for this service. I've had better treatment at fast food joints. The words hang in the air, cutting through the hum of conversations around them. Nearby diners exchange uneasy glances, their discomfort evident. A few shake their heads in silent disapproval. Maria feels the sting of humiliation but refuses to let it show. Years of dealing with difficult customers have taught her to rise above such moments. As the rich woman stands to leave, Maria nods politely and whispers, "Thank you for dining with us." The woman scoffs and strides toward the exit, her designer heels clicking against the polished floor. Some diners murmur softly, their eyes full of sympathy for Maria. One couple quietly leaves a generous tip on their table as they exit, a silent acknowledgement of the injustice they've witnessed. Maria takes a deep breath, steadying herself. What happens next will surprise everyone, including the rich woman who so easily dismissed her. As Maria stood by the table, watching the rich woman prepare to leave without a word of gratitude or a single penny for her service, she felt a momentary pang of frustration. But it was fleeting. Years of hardship had taught Maria an invaluable lesson. Kindness, even when undeserved, can be the most powerful response. Before the woman could fully walk away, Maria stepped forward with a calm, yet purposeful demeanor. Picking up the bill and placing it neatly in her apron, she said in a gentle voice, loud enough for the nearby diners to hear, "Ma'am, there's no need to pay tonight. Your meal is on me." The rich woman froze mid-step, her hand still clutching the strap of her designer handbag. She turned back, eyebrows arched in disbelief. "Excuse me?" she said, her tone laced with both confusion and skepticism. Maria smiled softly, standing her ground. "I believe kindness can go a long way, even when it's not reciprocated," she explained. "Sometimes we just need a little grace to brighten our day." The room fell silent. Conversations at nearby tables paused as diners watched the exchange unfold. The rich woman stared at Maria, visibly stunned. For a moment her sharp, haughty demeanor faltered. She opened her mouth as if to respond, but no words came out. Maria simply nodded, her kind smile unwavering, and turned to clear the table with practiced efficiency. The woman stood motionless, her face a mixture of embarrassment, disbelief, and something else. Something that felt like the beginning of reflection. As Maria walked back to the kitchen, the rich woman sat back down, staring at the table where her untouched receipt once lay. For the first time that evening, she was truly speechless. The rich woman remained seated, her perfectly manicured hands resting stiffly on the edge of the table as if trying to steady herself. For the first time in a long while, she felt small, not because someone had put her in her place, but because someone had chosen not to. Maria's unexpected gesture of grace lingered in her mind, challenging her usual worldview. At first, the woman's reaction was defensive. "Why should I feel bad?" The service wasn't great, she told herself, clinging to her pride. But as she glanced around the room, she noticed the subtle but clear disapproval in the eyes of other diners. Yet no one looked at her with hostility. Instead, they seemed to marvel at Maria's composure and kindness. The rich woman couldn't escape the warmth of Maria's words. Kindness can go a long way, even when it's not reciprocated. Those words played on repeat in her mind, chipping away at her defenses. Suddenly, her usual justifications for being dismissive felt hollow. Meanwhile, Maria carried on with her work, her calm demeanor unwavering despite the drama that had unfolded. Other customers began leaving noticeably larger tips on their tables, quiet acknowledgments of her grace under pressure. One couple even stopped Maria on their way out to commend her kindness, their praise audible to nearby patrons. The rich woman felt a twinge of shame as she observed this, realizing the stark contrast between her own behavior and Maria's quiet strength. For a woman who prided herself on status and control, this moment of vulnerability was unfamiliar and deeply unsettling. Yet, for the first time in a long while, she felt something stir within her. A longing to change. After a few moments of deep thought, the rich woman stood and made her way to the front desk, where the restaurant manager was stationed. Her usual confident stride felt different, less commanding, more introspective. When the manager greeted her with a professional smile, she hesitated before speaking. "The waitress who served me tonight? Maria, I believe. Can you tell me a bit about her?" she asked, her tone softer than it had been all evening. The manager's face lit up at the mention of Maria. "She's one of the most hard-working people I know," he said. "A single mother raising a young daughter on her own. Despite her challenges, she's always kind, always smiling. Tonight wasn't easy for her, but she handled it with the grace she always does." The woman felt a lump form in her throat as she listened. Maria's words earlier, about kindness and grace, resurfaced, but now they carried a deeper weight. She realized just how much strength it must have taken for Maria to respond with compassion instead of anger. Quietly, she handed the manager a thick envelope. "Please make sure Maria gets this," she said. "But don't tell her it's from me." The manager opened the envelope slightly, revealing a generous stack of bills, a tip far larger than the meal itself. As the woman turned to leave, she stopped by another table, where a young couple was enjoying their meal. She discreetly spoke with their server, handing over her credit card to pay for their dinner. Walking out into the cool night air, the woman felt a weight lift off her shoulders. For the first time in a long while, she felt lighter, less because of the money she'd given, and more because of the humility and gratitude she'd gained. As the evening wound down, Maria finished her shift with the same quiet determination she brought to every day. The kind words from other diners and the generous tips left behind hadn't gone unnoticed, but she remained grounded. To Maria, showing kindness wasn't about seeking praise. It was simply the right thing to do. Her thoughts turned to her daughter, whose smiling face always reminded her of why she worked so hard. When the manager handed her an envelope later that night, Maria was stunned by its contents. The generous tip brought tears to her eyes, though she had no idea who had left it. Grateful but ever humble, she tucked the envelope away, resolving to use it wisely to provide for her little family. Maria returned to clearing tables with a renewed sense of purpose, her belief in kindness and resilience reaffirmed. Meanwhile, the rich woman drove home in silence, reflecting on the events of the evening. For years, her wealth had shielded her from empathy, allowing her to dismiss others as mere background to her life. But Maria's grace had pierced that barrier, showing her the quiet strength of humility. That night, the woman made a promise to herself to treat others with more respect and to look beyond the surface. The lesson lingered, not just for the two women but for everyone who witnessed the exchange. Maria's kindness had sparked a ripple effect, proving that even the smallest act can change a life. Sometimes, as the story reminds us, it takes a small act of kindness to open a heart and change a life.